I'm here back at the lovely SRD. This is in Haywards Heath. Apologies, it's been a little while since I've done a video on the Supra. There hasn't really been any updates since the last one I did back in May, and I've been super busy with work anyway, so there hasn't really been much to do a video on. So today I'm going to be putting the new brakes finally on the car. I got a new set of front wheels. I was toying with the idea of going with a full set of wheels custom made, but I decided against it in the end just because the cost was a little more than I was expecting. So I've done the sort of slightly cheaper version and just got a new size front wheels. So I've gone for 8.5J, but with a stronger offset, so plus 23 offset. Just so that I can fit those brakes underneath. I was speaking with JR Wheels and with Bits just to try and make sure that there was a way of making these fit with these particular wheels. So we settled on ET23, so hopefully they will fit. Yeah, so the guys at SRD very kindly squeezed me in last minute to get these done. We had a couple of delivery issues with the brakes, so it's Friday today, and on Sunday I have a track day in Anglesey. So I'm really hoping that we can get these brakes on, ready, bedded in, ready for me to drive all the way up to Wales on Sunday and batter it around the track. So fingers crossed everything goes to plan. I've got the brakes all laid out here, as you can see. They're yellow K-Sports. They are 8-pot, 356mm discs. So quite a bit bigger than the standard ones. The standard ones are 2-pot, and I think they're maybe even under 300mm. I'm not 100% sure what size they are. All I know is they're going in the bin. Now, the eagle-eyed viewers of you may have noticed that there's only front brakes on there. That is because I can only do the front brakes at the moment. The rear brakes are obviously still expensive. Just can't afford to do that at the moment. So we may have a little bit of a brake bias issue. Obviously the front brakes are going to be much more powerful than the rears. Let's just see how we can deal with that. And obviously I guess there's only one major test for that, and that would be at Anglesey. So if I'm doing endos, you know something's gone wrong. So these are the new wheels. I've got a lot more clearance there. I can actually fit fingers in there, which I couldn't do on the old ones. The same rear wheels on the back, and you can see this horrible corrosion on them. These JR wheels seem to have problems with like lacquer corrosion or something in them, so they get these little tiny scratches in them. I had the same problem with my front wheels, so I've obviously taken those off. If anyone wants to buy those, by the way, they are for sale, so about 145 quid I think I got them for on Facebook Marketplace. So if you do want to buy them, give me a shout. They're 9.5J, obviously 5x1 14.3, and they are ET plus 40. So yeah, if anyone wants to buy them, give me a shout. But yeah, the only problem with reusing them is obviously then my front wheels are going to be really clean and lovely, and then the rear wheels have got this little bit of corrosion on them. So I am going to get the 4 wheels sprayed. I'm thinking of going with like a dark bronze colour. I think that would suit the silver quite well. I did like the idea of gold wheels, but I think that would only really work with like a black car or a white car. So yeah, I think dark bronze is probably what I settled on, but I will do that after the track day. So these are the old discs and calipers. I have Chris Wilson pads on here. They've done pretty well, to be fair, considering the poor calipers. But they are starting to get a bit of a lip. They are hot as well. These are the shiny new brakes. I'm using Pagid RSL 29 brake pads. I recommended them, they're good. And then these are the 356mm discs. They are floating rotors. I'm not 100% sure what difference they'll make in the real world, but they were the ones that I could get quick. Rather than wait 12 weeks for the non-floating rotors, I decided to splash out and get the floating rotors. So it's always worth just having a quick look around at what Supras they've got here. I never get over how big these little washer jets are, like little eyebrows or something. This thing was just running and it sounds absolutely nuts. You know it's a rather quick thing when it's got a parachute on the back of it. And that's just a lovely colour as well. Not that the camera can really deal with that change in light. We have this very, very fast IS200 estate. And a nice black one here. We have this AB Flug, AB Flug Supra up here. Definitely a Marmite kit, I think. Some people love it, some people hate it. It's certainly got presence. And then this one's an interesting colour. I don't think I've seen this before. I guess it must be a custom colour. It's like a maroony, winey kind of colour. This is the suspension I'd like. HKS Hypermax. So we are just going to actually check that they fit.
Grab us the spline and the 1/2-inch gun.
No idea.
I think you're good.
That's what we like to hear.
It's close.
But last ones were close as well.
But not as close as I have in the past. It's the point where you start grinding down the caliper to get them to clear.
Yeah, we'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
These lovely looking yellow calipers.
You grind the caliper.
Good news, they fit. Thank you, JR, for helping me out with that one. Do you know how much difference the fact that it's floating gives you?
Just it'll be when it's at heat, and the disc has got a little bit of natural run out.
So it's just,
It'll just
keeps it a little bit cooler.
Yeah,
Takes
it'll
the heat
just take some of the air, the run out of it as well.
Got it. So you can see the difference in the two disc sizes there. Big boys. Not you guys, just the disc.
Nah.
Got the anti-seize compound going on there.
Nice and tight so they shouldn't wrap. Obviously this brace here is not only for the anti-squill shim, it also ties in both halves of the caliper, so that when you apply the pressure on the brakes, the caliper doesn't bow in the centre.
So it's even across it.
Yeah, more solid pedal. All the way down to the bottom.
I'm just bleeding the brakes now. Keep going up and down, yeah?
On the pedal.
These air bubbles we're trying to get rid of, isn't it?
Okay, down. On the pedal.
So I was just chatting to Ash about this Supra behind me. I mean, I was correct in my assumption that the parachute means it's big power. It is 1253 horsepower at the wheels, which is absolutely insane. He's saying that the gearbox will go up to 250 mile an hour, and it could probably get there. They obviously can't test that on the dyno because the dyno itself is only rated to 200 mile an hour. Which also comes with a caveat that they have to do all their dyno runs in third gear, because fourth will go up to 202 mile an hour, which is too fast for the dyno. I don't think I have to be worrying about any kind of speeds like that. but that is nuts to see. These guys are creating some crazy stuff here. So be sure to check out their YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description below. I believe they have done a dyno run on the car, so I'll link that video in the description.
Press it down as hard as you can. And then hold it for 10 seconds. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Who needs a gym?
10. So the pedal didn't sink,
Okay.
but I will adjust this brake pedal up a little bit more.
Okay.
Alright, it feels too long when you're hitting the brake pedal.
Just out for a quick test drive with the brakes, just to see how they're feeling. Obviously we can't go stamping on them yet because there's a bit of a bedding in process.
Do you heel and toe?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to get the brake pressure and the pedal position in the right place so you can heel and toe as well. If it's too high up, you can't move the foot over.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm just going to do some left foot braking just to get some temperature into the discs now.
Cool.
Saves us from doing any big stops at high speed. I can just give it a bit of brake pressure with my left foot whilst applying a bit of power.
Yeah.
You know, slow the car down.
So you said you need about 15 heat cycles.
Well, it needs to burn the resin out of the pad.
Yeah.
So that the pad, you know, goes rock hard, or as hard as it's ever going to get. If you get them too hot to start off with, it just ends up glazing all the discs and the pads.
Yeah.
And then they'll stop like crap. So you just got to be gentle in the bedding in process. Make sure that it goes through them heat cycles so that, you know, all that resin gets burned, and the pad composite goes to what it should do.
Yeah. Do that.
And if you look at the tracking on the car as well, if I let go, the car wants to wander to the right, just ever so slightly, just drifting to the right.
Okay.
So I'm going to say the caster is out on that front right wheel, or they're not equal.
Yeah.
Any car that kind of pulls around on the road in one direction, always in one direction, it's normally the caster, nothing to do with the toe, it's normally the caster. And it does, it just wants to pull. Just drifts
right a bit, yeah.
And it might only be 0.2 of a degree, 0.1 of a degree, but it will always want to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Also means when you're hard on the brakes, that's the direction the car's going to want to go.
Yeah.
So that.
Yeah, it does want to go to the right, doesn't it?
It's a lovely experience to be in this car. It's nice and quiet. Steering feels good. Gearbox feels short and.
Oh, the gearbox feels lovely, doesn't it? Yeah. I imagine it feels quite slow in comparison to a lot of them that you've driven.
It feels like an NA. When you've driven a lot of big powered ones, you're waiting for the kick at the turbo.
Yeah, that never
and then all hell breaks loose, and then you're struggling to keep it in a straight line.
Yeah.
I think we talked before that 700 wheel is about the perfect point for a street car.
Yeah.
Any more than that, then they become a little bit more terrifying to drive. But no, that was a pleasure to drive.
Lovely.
Gearbox is lovely.
So it's all good news in the end. The brakes are on and I can confirm they work very well indeed. I've just driven up from down south all the way up to Anglesey. It was a 5-hour drive. Stayed at an Airbnb last night and I'm at the circuit now, as you can probably see behind me. So good news all around. The brakes are amazing, so much better than they were before. I'm going to give them a proper test at Anglesey Circuit, but you'll see that in another video. What I do want to do before I go is just give a massive shout out to SRD down in Haywards Heath for doing all the work. They did such an incredible job with the brakes. They had it done in like an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, something like that. It was nuts how quickly they managed to do it. They squeezed me in last minute to do it. I called up and begged Ash to do it, and bless him, he managed to fit me in just before the weekend. So literally got the brakes done on the Friday, and today is Sunday. So real quick turnaround. They only arrived at my house on Wednesday. So again, a huge shout out to those guys. There's a link below to SRD if you want to check them out for any Supra bits. R35 is their sort of specialist as well. I've also got a link down below to that 1200 horsepower Supra, so make sure you check out that video. It's kind of nuts. But anyway, that's it for today. If you want to check out the next video that I'm going to be doing, it should be up fairly shortly. That's going to be a track day on Anglesey, so giving these brakes a proper shakedown, so make sure you don't miss that one. Make sure to subscribe if you want to subscribe. If you don't, then don't bother, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.